Well, Bob decided the year before,
Mm-hmm.
after 5 years. And he said, I can't drive over the hill one more time. I said, don't say that. They'll buy you a house in the valley. I mean, that's so stupid, you know. And they said, well, you want to quit, Bob? Fine, you know, and we understand that. So can we have $16 million? And he said, what? I don't have that on me, you know, because that's what we'll be making, right? So he went another year. Um, as it turned out, Bob, and we could have gone on for 3 more years, maybe. But Bob was right. It was the right time. Not that we were starting to repeat ourselves or anything. It was the right time for all of us to step out of there. And you know, Bob's not emotional. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be obliged to be connected. Some of it's the Catholic thing, you know. And so the last show, Bob, you know, they photographed the curtain call. Bob came out, and then he was supposed to, you know, introduce me, and there's Bob, and before he couldn't say my name, and this sob came up out of Bob. Well, I ran out, you know, and hugged him, and he didn't pull away like he always does, you know. And then one by one, we just came out. But to see that emotion in Bob, I think it shocked him. You know, I had said to Bob, I don't know if I've ever told this story publicly. You don't know what you have here because you've been a stand-up and you were up there alone. You haven't been in the trenches like we all have. This is very rare, Bob. You know, you're not just coming in, hitting your mark, and saying your lines. And someday you're going to get out there and you're going to know how special this was. And after he had done the new Newhart show, he called us all and went to the house. We had dinner. And he said, a very wise woman once told me, because he wouldn't acknowledge it was me, that I one day would find out how special. And he said, I'm here to tell you that I didn't hold it in high enough regard and how very special it was. And I need to acknowledge that for all of you. And it was very sweet, very touching. And it was an interesting lesson, you know. I think that, you know, Bob and I knew each other a long time. And I don't think that Bob thought that he was going to particularly like me, you know. Probably thought I'd be a bitch. A lot of people. I like to keep that out there because then people are intimidated. I don't have to do anything, you know. And I'm quite the reverse. I'm really, you know, very loving on a set, very protective. If I ask for something, it's usually to make the show better. Not, you know, it's not about trailers or stuff like that. And after all this time, finally, we were having dinner at Ma Maison. This is when he was doing the second show. Did two things that night. He said, well, you know, she doesn't have your timing, but who does? A compliment? Shit. Oh, my God. And then we were out in the parking lot, and he said, well, you know I love you. And I went, and I fell all over him sobbing and thing. And he said, oh, get away. Oh, God, that's why I never tell you anything, you know. It was just awful for him. And, you know, I lick his face. I do all kinds of things that he hates, you know. Can't keep my hands off him. He's like my baby. But it was a lesson in every sense. It was a lesson in him working in a community of actors, which he had rarely done before, and working with talented people, talented in their own right, which is hard for guys in one to understand, who protected him